This is Chie Satanaka, and you're listening to the Giant Sword Podcast. You better eat more meat.
Hello, and welcome to this week's Giant Sword Podcast. I'm your party leader, Nick Lynn. To my side are my noble and hairy are Taylor Hoyt.
How's it going?
Maddie Lind.
Howdy.
And we have two guests this time. Returning guest, Ben Moore.
Hey.
And our new guest, Bradley Ellis.
Hello.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Doing good.
Man. Good.
Sweet. Busy weekend?
Yeah, it's weird. Easy Allies does a ton of shooting on weekends sometimes, and so the weekend can be busier for us than the actual week.
That's crazy.
Yeah, yesterday was kind of brutal.
A lot of new, a lot of podcasts.
Just a really long podcast, and then a bunch of tabletop episodes. So.
Oh, geez.
Oh, do you guys bulk record them?
Yeah.
Yeah, we bulk record them, and then it's you got to transfer the footage over, and that takes time, and just a bunch of menial stuff like that.
Can you imagine recording our Star Wars RPGs?
Oh, boy.
That'd be the boringest thing in the world.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm playing it, I'm falling asleep.
So you tend to do that in a lot of those kind of RPGs.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I got a couple questions for you guys. What JRPGs are you excited about this year? And what are your goals for JRPGs this year? Let's start with Brad.
Which ones am I excited about coming out this year? Ben, I forgot you told me, is Ni no Kuni 2 coming out this year?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm excited for then. Ni no Kuni 2.
Yeah, and it's coming out on PC, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, that's great. Just, more people get to play it now.
Yeah, exactly.
What do I want out of JRPGs this year? That's a tough question because, I guess that's just what I want out of JRPGs in general.
Are there any on your backlog that have just been staring at you that you've been wanting to finish?
I guess you could count Nier as one. I need to finish playing through that. I just started Tales not too long ago, which is surprisingly better than I thought it'd be.
Yes.
I know you and me talked about this, Ben.
Mm-hmm.
Especially after Hysteria. We weren't both very keen on that.
Oh, thank you. Both these guys here, they love Hysteria, and I couldn't stand it. So I'm glad that there's other people that feel my pain.
It wasn't really our cup of tea. I don't know if you guys remember this, but a long time we did a countdown at GT about franchises that deserve to die.
Uh-huh.
And we put Tales on there.
Ouch.
Ow. Me and Ben were just dude, these suck now. Dude, we got so much backlash. I stand by it. It was a funny pick.
That was when Xillia and Xillia 2 were coming out.
Yeah, it's just Tales were just kind of mediocre at that point, I felt because me and Ben both really like Symphonia, of course. And I really liked Vesperia, but I felt after Vesperia with Graces and everything like that, it just kind of started going downhill. We just kind of weren't really into them. They were just all right, pretty generic border or just generic JRPGs that didn't really push anything. But with Vesperia, it looks like it's going in the right direction, which is a good sign.
Yeah, it's you're playing the bad guy, which is kind of interesting. Usually it's power of friendship, cheery, happy little adventure.
We were talking about that. Yeah, hey, let's save the world, dude. And this one's just kind of
Well, that is totally true.
Well, yeah, there's going to be the character.
The power of friendship definitely
JRPGs
comes up.
Friendship no matter what, I think. Yeah. That's just something we expect.
For sure.
Come on, that's all Persona 4, Taylor.
I know. I love that stuff.
It's great, yeah.
That's why Graces is one of my favorites, because that's all of what that game is.
Absolutely, yeah. That wasn't even a criticism.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that theme or whatever. It's just how they portray it, I would say.
Yeah. What's your gripes with Hysteria? Because I know Taylor's. I want to hear your guys'. And have you guys actually finished it?
No, I did not finish it.
I have very, very pointed gripes with Hysteria, and I played through it and I reviewed it. The equipment/skill system is needlessly convoluted and tedious.
That is true.
Always. The characters are uneven. There are some really good characters, but I feel like you don't get them until pretty deep into the game. It has a slow start, which, playing a bunch of JRPGs, I can forgive the slow start, certainly. But the combat never really The combat was fine, but I didn't feel like it was Tales at its best. And I feel more bold in that opinion after playing Berseria, which I think has a lot more going on with its combat. And at the end, you can't continue until you go and you fetch all these orbs.
Wait, what?
Absolutely,
I remember
drove
that.
me insane.
Yep.
Like it was like Wind Waker levels of egregious padding. Oh my god! I was like, you're right at the end of the game, and they're like, nope, we're gonna need you to do this thing. It's going to take a few hours.
Go into
all these orbs.
Go into all the RPG Maker-esque dungeons and find them.
Well, it's hilarious because I did that on the way. So when I got to that point, Nick walked away and walked back like an hour later, and I moved on, and he was like, wait, how did you do that? I was like, I did it on the way. I don't know. It's probably because I thought they were like important side quests, all the purple stars, so I was like doing them and hated it.
Oh, hold on. I need to bring something up. When you guys asked me what JRPG I was looking forward to, I completely blanked out on this for some reason. I'm sorry, Ben. But it's Persona 5. I'm sorry. It's Persona 5.
I would have covered you, but it's all right.
It's Persona 5, dude. That game. Holy moly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Life will stop when that game comes out.
I mean, we did wait 2 hours in line to play it at PSX.
Yeah, that was ridiculous, dude. That line was insane.
Yeah, so you remember the ending of Zestiria, Ben?
Oh, no.
I do.
Okay. Isn't there parallels to Final Fantasy 15?
Yeah, there are, for sure. They're similar.
I always poke fun at Taylor because I'm like, oh yeah, I played Tales of Zestiria. It's called played Final Fantasy 15. It's called Tales of Zestiria. And you always got mad.
Yeah, they're parallels for sure. I do think, like, I don't want to ruin Final Fantasy 15 or anything, but I'm just gonna say the photo element was a nice touch with that sort of ending that they went for in Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah,
that was cool.
All right, Ben. So, what are you excited about this year?
I'm excited for everything, but I think the one that like I'm most curious about is Project Octopath Traveler. Just because I've watched, I don't know if it's going to be out this year, so I don't know if that like fulfills the requirement. Be. Hopefully, it's just. I remember when Bravely Default came out and how fresh it felt at the time, and looking at Octopath Traveler and its style, it seems like it's a game that is not just going to be another JRPG, but is really going to have some crazy stuff in it. And like, if you watch the trailer, they sort of talk about you as a player making things. And I wonder if you're going to, almost like a 3D Dot Game Hero is going to be able to like have some creative input into how that game plays out. I don't know. Ooh. I believe in the Bravely Default guys, and it seems like a cool thing on the Switch. So that's one that I'm most curious about it too.
Yeah, those guys over there seem to know what they're doing. So just the look on its own looks pretty neat. So yeah, if they can make the game compelling, that'd be awesome.
Definitely. I wonder if we'll see more at E3 or something like that.
Better.
What are your goals for JRPGs this year? Do you want to like take out a bunch of your backlog, or you just want to, pick up a bunch of them or something like that?
There's a lot I would love to do. I have two that feel like ambitious goals. At least if like 2017 keeps up with the rate of releases that it's been doing, to finish Trails of Cold Steel 1 and 2. That's a big one.
Yeah, Taylor.
That's a good one.
And to finish Xenoblade Chronicles. Those are my like two giant goals.
Xenoblade Chronicles, like the OG one on Wii?
Yeah, the OG one on Wii. I've finished X, but not the original. Which, from what I've played of Chronicles, I actually enjoy it more than X, so it's kind of a bummer. But yeah,
yeah, X was weird. That was one of those games where it also sort of artificially pads out the game, because can't you not advance until you're a certain level at certain junctures in the story or something like that?
Yeah, Chronicles X is a really weird game. Well, it has that like map and survey thing, and there are certain points where you have to like put the survey points in a specific spot. You remember, it's almost like a puzzle.
Yeah.
And you have to like earn a certain amount of that currency. And like before you get your mech, you have to go and you have to pass all these tests. So they definitely throw a lot of stuff at you before you're allowed to progress, for sure.
It's weird though because once that all gets out of the way, it's actually a cool game, like just getting in your mechs and flying around and stuff. But yeah, I just can remember I'm like, oh my god, I gotta grind like again just to keep going with the story. And I felt like the game was long enough as it was. So
yeah, definitely. If you were like the way that I initially heard the "What are your goals for JRPGs?" Like I wish they would just cut down on the fat a little bit more.
Yes, yeah.
You know, Chronicles X is a game that you can spend 60 to 70 hours on. I could see that being a really good 40-hour game. Like, I think you can easily cut 20 hours of that game and have it be much, much better. I feel that way, like, anywhere from, like, 5 or 10 hours, I feel like you can cut off a lot of JRPGs. Like, even Persona 3, a game that I love, I was talking to Brad about this. Like, you could shave off, like, 30 floors of Tartarus and it'd probably be all right.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah.
Oh, so you know the second chapter when you're Aegis? When I started that, I was like, wait, this is just more of the Tartarus. Nope, I'm not doing this again.
Yep. That game has so much goodness in it, but the actual playing it, kind of a low point.
I spent 120 hours on my first playthrough. I don't know how I did that.
Wow, that's more than me. I think when I finished it, my first playthrough was 80, like right around 80.
Wow. Okay, yeah, I was like, what? How did I spend so much time on this? I think that's like my time for Persona 4 for 2 playthroughs. So,
oh, wow. Were you playing FES on PS2?
I was.
Okay, see, I was playing Portable, and so it goes a lot quicker because you don't... When you're like navigating the school and any area outside of the dungeon, it's not 3D, it's 2D, and you just like have this little pointer and you click on things that you want to talk to. So that speeds it up quite a bit.
To be honest, that's actually
because you're not.
What's
up?
That's actually what threw me off of P3 because I played P3 after I played P4, and I was like, "Yo, cool! Play this one. I know it's like the theme is death. It's gonna be like dark." And then I watched Nick play the original. And then I booted mine up, and I'm just like, wait, I'm not walking. I'm a dot.
Right.
Wait, what is this? And then like I already knew. Sometimes I do research about games ahead of time. It's a habit I've broken pretty well now. But I already knew what like him awakening his persona looked like, and so when I got to that part in the Portable, I was like severely disappointed. I was like, what is this?
So it's just like a static image, more or less?
It's a 3D image, but it's a 3D image like sprite instead of a cutscene.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
That is weird.
And then I stopped, like, I don't even know what floor in Tartarus I am. I think I'm like in the 60s, and I'm like, I don't think I could do this.
Doesn't it go all the way up to like 300 or something like that?
Yeah.
I think it's like just below 300. I could be wrong, though.
I think when we were recording it, you got to like
270
something.
Oh, yeah. Well, jeez.
Brutal.
That game. How did we get onto Persona 3?
I don't know. Persona's awesome.
Yeah, that's true. All right, guys. We know what Maddie and I have been playing. Taylor, what have you been playing?
I know what I
I mean, not a JRPG, but
Okay,
or only JRPGs.
Only JRPGs.
Oh, okay. Well, basically, I still cracking away on the Revelations path on Fire Emblem Fates.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you guys. So I played through the Hoshido. What is it? Birthright. Thank you. And I played Conquest, and I'm not kidding. It took me like 10 tries to beat the first level with those in the swamp with those guys, the big like ogre guys. Like I don't know what it was. I just couldn't isolate them, and then I kind of figured it out. And then the second battle was like impossible because it's that level where you're in the snow village, and like if you don't get to the houses in time, then they just spawn like 4 more guys for the opposing team.
Yeah.
And I was just like, this is impossible. So I started Revelations. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so much fun because each level, there's like a weird environmental aspect to it. Like there's one where it's like snowed in. You have to like chip away at the snow. And like there's one where you're like hopping between like ships on the ocean. And it's weird mixing like Nor and Hoshido characters on your team. But I don't know. I've been really liking that. I think I mentioned this last week on the podcast, but like Fire Emblem has slowly like started climbing up to like one of my favorite game series, and like there's that Fire Emblem Echoes game that's coming out this year. I don't really know what to expect from that, but yeah, I'm really digging Revelations on for Fates. It's a cool one.
Sweet.
Yeah, that's awesome. I have not played Revelations yet. I started with Birthright just because it seemed like they were the good guys, Hoshido compared to the evil empire. But I actually like Conquest a lot better because Birthright sort of feels like if you're new to Fire Emblem, this is a good place to start. The battles aren't going to be too taxing. They're relatively straightforward. Whereas Conquest is like, hey guys, welcome back to Fire Emblem. And it has really difficult battles that have pretty tough constraints on them. And just your character wrestling with the notion of being a part of this pretty atrocious family. I don't know. It's an interesting dynamic compared to what we saw in like Awakening or Birthright. And I'm still working through it, but I'm hoping to have that finished and then Revelations finished pretty soon.
Nice.
So, Brad, what have you been playing? I know you've been playing Berseria. How have you been liking that? Like, more in depth.
Yeah, it's great so far. I'm really enjoying my time with it. It's the best I've felt about Tales in a while, so I hope it keeps up.
Oh, the one thing I like about Berseria a lot is how I'm trying to connect it to Zestiria because it actually is connected to the world, and it's really fun. It's like, oh, I know that. Oh, that's where that came from. So it's like really, really interesting. So
yeah, that's not enough like reason for me to play Zestiria, I guess. Like small context is fine, but man, I couldn't get that far in Zestiria. I put like 10 hours, and I was just like, all right, I don't think this game's for me.
I'm enjoying the fact that it's a female protagonist, actually, because I'm connecting to her a lot more.
Because you're that evil?
Because I'm that, yeah, in my soul. That's actually how I feel.
Yep.
But no, like, what she's going through, I'm just like, I can see it, and I can see how she's reacting to it. It's not always good, but, like, I'm understanding her point of view, you know?
I just love how the beginning's all, like, happy-go-lucky tales of typical.
Oh my god, I
like,
love that town you started in.
Yeah.
It's so jolly.
It's so jolly.
Nice.
And then suddenly it's like the darkest like scene ever in the Tales game. It's like, oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
I really like. I'm not super far, but so far in the story, I like how uncompromising Velvet is. Where she's like, no, I'm going to do this thing. You're not going to talk me out of it. Like, I'm not going to be sympathetic. Like this is what I'm doing, and she's very focused in that sense. And I think that's a pretty cool quality for her to have.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yep.
Me and Ben were talking about this, but also the kind of themes, I guess, in the game. If you're a Souls fan, you'd probably definitely recognize a lot of things in this game, I would say. Specifically, like the demon beast thing going on, everyone's turning into werewolves and whatnot. And, like, spoilers for the first hour, I guess. The final villain's name is, like, Artorias.
Like that was the DLC for Dark Souls 2?
1.
1, okay.
Artorias.
I know that's like not a very common name. Because I'm like, oh, they made that up because Dark Souls.
Yeah, and he has a gimp arm, just like Artorias also.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, wow.
Must be a character theme.
That must be, interesting.
So, Maddie, how have you been enjoying Tales of Berseria since we're on this topic, and that's what you've been playing?
Yeah. That was the thing. I'm connecting to the character a lot more. When there is like moments of like, there's a joke going on. Particularly, was it Magilu?
Oh, Magilu.
She seems like
coming
a
in.
really funny character.
There's
I've been
like-
watching some trailers with her, and I'm like, she's like my favorite kind of Tales character. Like, what's the girl's name in Graces with the 2-colored hair? What's her name?
Oh, gosh.
Sharia?
No, the girl.
Oh, Pascal.
Pascal, yeah. Pascal's like maybe my favorite Tales character ever. She's awesome.
Pascal. Yeah. It's like every female magic user always has a quirky personality, I've noticed lately. That's like a Tales trope.
Too bad she hasn't been useful besides cracking jokes.
Soon.
Anyway. Soon? Oh, okay, cool. Anyway, like it's dark. The story is dark, and then there'll be those lighthearted moments, usually involving Magilu, and it's like it's a great break. It's a great break from like the atmosphere and what's happening around you. And the battle system's kind of addicting.
Yeah,
Totally.
I fight every battle, even though they're weak. I'm just like, okay, I need to get my break souls
Yeah,
to like.
but that's you.
I know. I'm sorry.
I'm walking around like Nick would probably be mad at me if I skipped these like 3 enemies in a row, but I want to get to the story, man.
See, don't let Nick get in your head like that, because I do that too. I'm like, should I buy this game? Nick will be mad at me because I'm not playing Trails of Cold Steel. Wait a minute, what am I doing?
What have you done? What have you done?
That's what I do. Speaking of Trails of Cold Steel, I remember in like the first episode we talked with Ben, we talked about it, and I thought he beat it already, and you have not
Give
yet.
away a spoiler?
I did not give it away a spoiler, but it was really interesting. It was like I thought you beat it, so luckily I did not give any spoilers away. So, how close to you are to beating it?
I think the farthest I've gotten is about 25 hours. I'd say 25, 30 hours. But I restarted because we were streaming it, and I might just stream through the whole thing, which is going to make it take much longer. So maybe I won't do that just to save time. But
Ben, I worry about the amount of projects you take on.
I don't really consider streams projects, though. Like, I do the streams when I can. If I can't, like, whatever. Streams are just for fun.
I've gone in the habit of not streaming games I haven't played because I play the games I haven't played. I take really slowly and I never interact with like the audience at all. So I'm like, okay, I think I should play games that I've beaten before instead. How do you stream games that you've not beaten yet?
That's how I usually am with like really specific games, especially like I know when Dark Souls 3 came out, a lot of people wanted me to stream it, but I was like, no. This is like a very solo experience for me kind of thing. I want to take my time with it. I don't want anyone backseating me. But I guess me and Ben are kind of positioned more where we kind of need to stream stuff. So if I stream a new game, it's something that I usually pick that's not super, super close to me.
Streaming something that you have a lot of experience with is good because then you can tell the chat what's going on. And it's a pretty smooth experience, but there's a lot of value, I think, in streaming stuff that you haven't played because you get those initial reactions or you get to a point where you can't figure something out and then slowly you do. And I think that can be very enjoyable just as a viewer to watch. I think it's bad if it's like a genre that that you're just really suck at. Maybe don't do it then, but if it's something that you like, it's a series that you're familiar with, or it's a genre that you feel comfortable with, usually it's okay, depending on the streamer, to go through it your first time on stream.
You guys have encountered a random battle.
Oh my god!
This must be new.
Yes, it is. I'll be asking you guys trivia about JRPGs one by one.
Oh my god.
To earn victory over this random battle, you'll have to answer 3 correctly, collectively. The last person to answer correctly gets the honor to finish off this random battle with their own Mystic Art or Limit Break. All right.
Carry me, Ben.
I'll try. It depends on what series he's pulling.
Yeah.
Well, last week it was all over the place, so yeah.
Okay.
Get ready.
Let's do this.
All right. So, Ben.
Yeah.
Not including Double Slash, what is the name of Dart's first Learn edition?
In Legend of Dragoon.
Yes, in Legend of Dragoon.
Oh boy.
I've played Legend of Dragoon. I don't think I've played Legend of Dragoon since like 98. So I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah, I haven't played it since then either.
I'll move that to Taylor.
Oh, see, I got this wrong last week. And so not his first one, you said, right?
He automatically knows Double Slash, so the
Okay.
one he learns after that.
But I said Burning Rush last week, and that's not it. And then I don't remember any of the other ones. I don't know.
We're never going to find that one
Yeah,
out.
that'll be a mystery forever.
All right. Brad. What do you use to give characters magic in Grandia?
Grandia? Dude. I've only played Grandia 2.
It's the same
I
thing.
don't know. I don't remember. Ben, save us.
All right, Ben. You can do that.
Are you saying like what is the item you use to restore
No, it's what.
mana?
No, it's the item you use to give a certain element of magic to your characters.
I don't know. And I've played all of the Grandia games.
Okay. Taylor.
Give us an easy one. Come on, we're
I
dying
will,
over here.
I will,
This
I
random
will.
battle's kicking our butt.
Whose body does Surge from Chrono Cross change into?
Oh, that would be Link's.
That's one.
All right,
Yeah.
we got one. All right.
All right. Maddie. These are all hard for you.
Damn it.
Give her an easy one. Come on. Some Tales related.
Yeah, come on, man.
Oh, no. What elements create electric magic for Justin in Grandia?
I hate you. Oh, crap.
It's all these Grandia questions.
Yeah, I watched him play maybe an hour of it.
An hour? We played like 8 hours. What are you talking about?
No. What item gives him nature magic?
No, what elements create
elements give him
electric
lightning.
magic? This is generic, so you could probably get this if you just know.
Yeah. What elements lightning magic? Oh, crap. Water and earth?
No.
Okay.
Whew. This is a hard one.
Okay.
Ben, what is the name of the investigative and combat specialist group that works to protect civilians and maintain peace in the Trails of series?
The investigation?
The investigative and combat specialist group.
In the Trails of series.
Yes.
And so is this is including both Trails of Cold Steel and Trails in the Sky?
Yes.
Okay. I don't think I've only put a substantial amount of time into Cold Steel. And I don't think I've encountered an investigation unit, so I don't know.
Okay, Maddie, I'll give you this one, but I'll give you a hint. What is Sarah before a teacher?
Oh, a bracer!
Yes.
All right. So does that count?
That is count.
All
That
right,
counts.
he's 2 down. Okay.
Wow. Now I feel stupid, Captain.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Who knows Xenogears?
Ben.
Yeah, you're pulling from things that I haven't played in more than a decade.
A really long time, man.
But go for it.
All right. Faye from Xenogears is from what village?
Oh, I know this. Give me a second.
Oh man.
I know this.
It's funny because Connor said this answer last Sunday.
Huh.
Okay, I think it starts. Okay, is it
start with an L?
Yeah,
Yes, it does.
I think Lahan Village.
Yes, you got it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Nice.
All right, you get to finish off the battle with your own Mystic Art or Limit Break.
Oh, come on, man.
I get to finish up the battle.
Yeah,
I feel like I
dude.
did terrible. Like,
Well, you
All right.
you did the final
You
blow.
got the final blow.
okay, that's true. That was in the rules. All right, so my limit break. Making up a limit break on the spot.
It's hard.
It's hard. I think what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to do a Shoryuken,
Okay.
but as I rise up with my Dragon Punch,
Uh-huh.
I like lose my balance in midair, and I come crashing down and I break through with my head.
What would you call it?
The Dan.
The Dan.
Dan.
All right, the Dan. All right, guys, you have successfully got out of the battle, the random battle.
That was the hardest random battle.
We're playing on hard difficulty right now.
Okay, how much?
Sure, yeah, that
How much
was-
XP?
Oh man.
Well, yeah, that was all drawn from PS1 RPGs.
Yeah, we'll have to.
Dude, it's been so long since we played any of those.
What I did to find those questions was just look at my collection, and I just was looking at the PS1 RPGs. I'm like, oh yeah, there's the one. Oh yeah, that.
I don't even think I would have gotten that Xenogears one if Huber and I hadn't streamed it 6 months ago.
Luckily.
Actually, that turned out a lot better than I thought it would. That was funny.
I'm hoping you were going to use Demon Fang instead.
Demon Fang, yeah. I think that's your and Huber's
Yeah.
thing.
Demon Fang. Demon
Demon
Fang.
Fang.
Demon Fang.
Demon Fang.
That's a Tails. Is that
That is a
Tails
Tails.
move?
That is a
Okay.
Tails move.
Isn't that Abyss? Is that Abyss?
That's like
That's in a lot of
That's a lot of them.
That's just Majenkin.
Yeah.
Just like Lightning Tiger Blade.
Yeah, Tiger Blade. All right, guys. Taylor,
Yeah.
it's your turn.
So I'm trying. I don't want to make this too boring, but basically, as I was looking at 2017 and the games that were coming out, so we've got Tales of Berseria is already out, Neo's out next week, Nier Automata, Persona, Ni no Kuni, and all these games. I'm like, man, this is a landmark year for JRPGs, and I'm like, I wonder if this is one of the best years for JRPGs. So before I kind of go through this list, so what I did is I went through and going back to 1995, and I just listed out all the games, all the JRPGs that came out each year. From memory, can you guys think of like some like really great years where you're just like, man, there were like a ton of awesome games that came out, like as far as JRPGs are concerned?
Give me a minute, I gotta think.
I would say, really, for me, like when we're breaking it down to years, the problem with JRPGs now is it's gotten better. I would say recently you get like a few good JRPGs, and then you get like one or two that are absolutely exceptional and really, really great. But back, I would say starting around 96, 97 through probably about 2002, you were kind of getting an abundance of JRPGs. So sort of that mid to late 90s, early 2000s era, I know that's not a specific year, but that is the era that I kind of look back to most fondly, I'd say.
For sure, yeah.
I'm going to say 1997, just because Final Fantasy VII came out there and changed my life with JRPGs.
Oh, totally.
Because, I always played... I played like Chrono Trigger and a little bit of Final Fantasy VI and stuff like that. But I think it was when Final Fantasy VII came out that like it was something we've never really seen before. I don't know if you guys remember the marketing campaign for that game or anything like that when it was coming out, like posters of Cloud at bus stops and everything like that. It was pretty insane. And just seeing the graphics and the materia system just really brought me back into that series, I would say, or genre.
I remember that demo disc.
Yeah. Having Neo Bahamut and Midgar, I'm like, all right, this game's going to be awesome. So I was looking and I'm like, oh, maybe there were years that stood out better than most. But as I started compiling this, 2000. So Ben, you were talking about that little era, late 90s, early 2000s. The year 2000 was insane. So here are the notable ones. There were probably all these other little ones that nobody cares about.
Final Fantasy 9, right?
So in 2000, we got Valkyrie Profile, Parasite Eve 2, Lunar 2 on PS1, Chrono Cross, Legend of Dragoon, Final Fantasy 9, Persona 2, Legend of Mana, Skies of Arcadia on Dreamcast, Breath of Fire 4, Mega Man Legends 2, Grandia 2, Vagrant Story, Wild Arms 2, and Pokemon Gold and Silver, all in the same year.
Wow.
So within that list, I think it brings up something that I really want to touch on that we do not get anymore in the same way, where like the diversity of that list is just insane, and like the battle systems, the style, everything. Whereas now I feel like there's kind of a homogeny between like the Trails of series, while excellent, they're very similar in a lot of ways. The same can be said of Shin Megami Tensei. While Core SMT is like very different from Persona, there are a lot of elements that they share. And so you kind of have like these big bubbles of JRPGs, whereas like that year 2000, all of those things are just so different from each other. Like Valkyrie Profile is way different than a Wild Arms, which is way different than Final Fantasy and all that stuff. And I miss that. I miss the sort of like not quite JRPG AAA, but like a Legend of Dragoon, I want another one-off weird thing like that from not necessarily a studio that we would expect.
Totally, yeah. Like those years, I think that was when obviously like the genre was taken off, and you could put out. I think you could just like, just throw out any game and people would just eat up because it was new, and especially in the West, like once like Final Fantasy VII, this thing was like killing, and everybody was just trying whatever they could to. Get in on the action, like you were saying, like a Skies of Arcadia, like there really weren't there was no Sky Pirate RPG back in the day or whatever, and even Legend of Dragoon. And I still look back and wonder why they never did a sequel to that, because that sold really well, if I remember right.
Yeah, definitely. And man, Skies of Arcadia is just totally heartbreaking because you have this JRPG that is set in a totally new place with new characters. The Skypider idea has not been utilized very much at all within video games. And now I feel like when they do totally new things, like even Bravely Default, I feel like Bravely Default's success was kind of on the back of, this is like old school Final Fantasy games, wink, wink,
Right.
or Tokyo Mirage Sessions. It's like, no, Fire Emblem fans, Shin Megami Tensei fans, this is for you. And there just aren't a lot of totally new things anymore in JRPGs. It's just a lot of series that have been going on for a very long time.
I think the one standout, and I think it's so cool this even continued, but, you know, like you said, I'm looking back on the last 5 years and even what's coming out this year. And the only game that really stands out is Nier Automata. Like, what a weird thing that we're getting another Nier game.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's weird we're getting another Ni no Kuni game. I can't believe it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I think Ni no Kuni is a really good example for sure.
Yeah, because I
You
remember...
consider Nier Automata a JRPG, though?
I don't know, because I never played the original Nier.
Oh, okay.
But I hear that game's real weird.
Oh, it's something.
Yeah,
You should play Nier.
Yeah, totally if you're going to play Automata.
Okay. Yeah, because I played that demo, and that demo was so good.
The original Nier is not like that, but it's if you can forgive some jank, and if you're willing to put in more than 10 hours to get like kind of past the initial hump, there's nothing else like it.
Okay.
It really isn't. Like the some of the things that game does are so out of left field and so unexpected and so worth seeing. You may not even like them, but I think just for the audacity of some of that stuff, it's kind of interesting to check out.
Well, even if it's not... Like, I've heard some of the stuff that the original Nier does, and even though it doesn't do that... Well, I don't know what the full game in Automata is going to be like, but the demo, at least, it's like, all right, we're going to have some platinum combat. Oh, and then we're shifting the camera's perspective. Oh, and here's a bullet hell fight, and then here's a top-down. I'm like, what is happening in this game? It's, like, just unbelievable. But isn't there, like, some weird, like, choose-your-own-adventure portion or something? Or, like, visual novel part or something weird?
So, I'm not going to spoil anything, but there are these words that you're collecting, and you kind of are going to place, and each place that you go to has sort of its unique set of mechanics. And you go to this forest, and there's no one around except for this old man. And you start talking to this old man, and the screen like fades to black, and you just see white text, and you're like, "Oh, I'm in a text adventure now." And you are asked questions, and you have to answer them correctly. And if you don't, it loops back to the beginning.
Oh no!
Wow.
Yeah.
So and then like I feel like if we were going through the years, the one notable low point is like 2009, and the only JRPG I could find is Demon Souls, and I don't even know if that counts.
That not only does that count, it's like that was a good year.
That was the savior. That made the year.
Yeah,
it brought it back from the brink of ruin.
It really did. Brought Japan back in a lot of ways, I feel like.
For sure, it was weird. That whole era was really weird because I had, at the time for me personally, like I was living in South Korea, and I was like so out of video games. Like I was only like replaying old JRPGs and like buying Madden every year. Like that, I was that guy. And then I came back. I'm like, oh, PS3. I bet there's a bunch of awesome JRPGs, and there was like just a bunch of weird stuff like R. Tenelico and like all those
Enchanted Arms.
Oh my gosh,
Resonance of Fate.
Oh yeah, Resonance of Fate.
Whoa! I'm cool with throwing everything else under the bus there, but we're not throwing Resonance of Fate under the bus. That game is pretty good.
I didn't say it was bad. I was just going.
It's just weird. It's one of those one-off weird games.
Hell.
Yeah,
it is weird as hell. I will cop to that for sure.
But yeah, it's odd that I think everything tried to go portable, maybe because like as I'm looking through this list, it's a lot of like Crisis Core, World Ends With You, Valkyria Chronicles moved to PSP and stuff like that, and so I don't know what it was. Like, why do you guys think it was that like Japan just couldn't figure out how to do JRPGs on consoles anymore?
Man, who knows? They were having trouble with like HD development or something like that. I remember Square Enix saying, I don't know what they were doing.
I think it was a lot of factors. I don't think you could pin it on any one thing, but it's last generation was really the generation where Japan was like, all right, we're moving away from console games. Like, just the audience for console games within Japan started shrinking there, and it has gotten like kind of smaller ever since. And then you had the explosion of things like Monster Hunter, the popularity of a lot of gacha games, Puzzles and Dragons got very big. And so I also think that, like, I remember reading not that long ago, like a few years ago, they were talking to a producer on Dragon Quest, and the interviewer was saying, there's people in the West that really love Dragon Quest. And he's like, really? We didn't think anybody liked it. And I've seen several interviews with like several different people that sometimes it just doesn't always seem like they're aware of that an audience is there. And I think, Operation Rainfall was like more important than it gives credit for. I think like you're even seeing the success of Yakuza, like the message coming out that no, we do care about these games, is finally reaching the right ears in a way that it wasn't before because the proper channels maybe weren't in place.
Well, I think a lot of the Japanese like JRPGs were losing their identity in a lot of ways too, Ben. That's why they weren't doing as well over here. Like Final Fantasy 13 trying to appeal too much to the West, and they kind of just
Final
lost.
Fantasy for sure, but not.
Yeah.
I'm not talking like the biggest of the big. I'm talking about like Dragon Quest didn't really lose its identity.
Yeah, but it's just like we get Dragon Quest numbered games so infrequently. I feel like.
Right, but there's not just Dragon Quest. Not even talking like specifically JRPGs, but like Yakuza, like that audience.
Mm-hmm.
There was potential there that wasn't being properly utilized. Final Fantasy, I think, just the philosophy of Square at that time was
Bad.
let's appeal to
Yes.
Western audiences directly. Yeah, it was bad. But I think that's just like specifically Square being dumb.
Speaking of how Japanese developers don't really know how the West is reacting correctly, or at PSX, the Atlas guys were like, we didn't expect to be this big of a crowd playing Persona 5 because they had to kick Sonic out of the Sonic mascot out to make a bigger line, and it was really funny. And I was like, come on, it's Persona 5. It's like one of the biggest JRPGs ever.
Yeah, and that it's really interesting how that really caught on because I really wonder if somebody were to release numbers, I bet you Persona 4 Golden's probably maybe the best selling Vita game. Or in top 5 for sure, and I just wonder how stuff like that, where people got behind certain games, and now they're like, oh man, Persona's awesome. So now I'm totally behind Persona 5. I remember when that Persona 5 gameplay trailer dropped, and I think it was trending worldwide on Twitter. It was insane because that game was super stylish, and like you were saying, Ben, with Square Enix. When Bravely Default came out, everybody was like, yes, this is awesome. And I think it sold twice as well as it did in Japan. And they were like, oh, we didn't expect this. And it's like, well, you just stop putting the games out. It's not like we stopped caring or whatever.
Right. And it was so great. And you really did see a change after this, where the president, after Bravely Default, the president of Square Enix came out and said, maybe we should stop trying to make what people don't want, aka overly trying to appeal to this vague idea of what Western audiences want. And maybe we should just make what we're good at and what we've been doing well for a long time. And that's also reflected in how Japanese developers have viewed PC games. I mean, you remember the totally infamous, terrible port of Dark Souls 1, right?
Oh my God.
Oh man.
And Dark Souls 1 sold incredibly well on PC, and people were like, cut out this bullshit. And so Namco Bandai, not only have they been crushing it, they've been Tales of Berseria is selling really well on Steam. And they've been putting out almost everything major that they do on PC. Ni no Kuni 2 is coming day and date on PC worldwide. That's a change in perspective, Sega re-releasing Valkyria Chronicles on PC, having it be received really, really well. These developers are catching on to where audiences are willing to support them and getting better at doing that in a good way.
We're still waiting for 3, Sega.
Valkyria Chronicles 3, oh my gosh. I worry about that series because there's that new one coming out, Valkyria Revolution. I was looking at some gameplay and I'm like, man, that game looks really bad.
I'm very worried about that game.
Has anybody played the demo?
I watched Damiani's stream, And it's like okay, imagine Valkyria Chronicles battles, but instead of having guns, you just have swords and you just walk up to guys, and it looked like a Dynasty Warriors game. I'm like, where's the challenge? There's like no challenge in that game.
It's pretty bad, or at least the demo was bad. It removed. I mean, it was in Japanese, so I can't comment on the story of the characters. But it, like, as far as combat goes, it removed everything that was great about Valkyria Chronicles.
That really makes me sad because I like the first one a lot. There was like a certain charm to it, and it was challenging, and it had a super cool art style.
And it was your first episode of Shinkara.
That's right, yeah. The little old series I used to do, yeah. But anyways, I don't know where this rabbit hole's going, but that might be
2017 is a good year. Let's just say that.
That's where we'll end it, I guess. So I know you guys are super into the Souls games. I saw that the second piece of DLC for 3 is coming out, like the Ringed City or something like that. What is that? Do you know like what kind of, is it just another like here's more bosses type of thing?
I played.
Yeah, Ben, can you talk about this?
No, I can't.
Okay.
I'm glad you said that, Brad. I can talk about it in 3 days.
Okay.
But I wouldn't say it's just like you fight more bosses. That's how I would describe it. It is. There's definitely a theme to it, and it feels like much bigger than the first piece of DLC for Dark Souls 3. I could say that.
Yeah. I'm big in the lore and Dark Souls series and like Bloodborne and all that, so the Ring City is a very special place I've been looking forward to seeing for a long time.
Oh, has it been like long referenced?
Yeah. Yes, it has. It's been kind of in other games in some ways, but you hear about it quite often in 3. So if we're finally going there, and if it's the place I think it is, it should be very cool. And I'm glad it's like the end. It's the send-off for the series for a while, if forever. At least Miyazaki's Dark Souls, so I'm hoping the end will be good.
And then they can move to Armored Core.
Yeah, that's possible. That's very possible. I'm hoping for Tenchu, but I'd take Armored Core any day.
Ooh. Do you think they at least have one more Bloodborne in the tank before they really move away from this?
Absolutely. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I think Sony made a lot of money on that. So this is something I just found out like this last week. Apparently Sony published Neo, or is publishing Neo. I didn't know that.
Yep. They sure did.
That's really weird. Like, so it's probably hard to like pinpoint that because Team Ninja is owned by Koei Tecmo, and I'm like, why wouldn't they just publish it themselves? But do you think Sony just stepped in and identified this as like, oh, this looks a lot like a Souls game, and then Bloodborne sold well, so let's just pay him to publish it or something? Like, how do you think that all happened?
I don't even think it was just like, this looks like a Souls game. I think they recognized the quality of it and said, this is going to review super well. It's only coming out on PlayStation. I think it was very much a strong arm kind of move.
Yeah, I wonder if it's like they don't want to make mistakes again, like they did with Demon Souls, or so they couldn't have Dark Souls and not back in well enough because they really messed up on that.
Yeah, I know. I can't believe how that happened. They're like, yeah, we'll just not publish it in the West. And then I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think isn't that Alice? Alice is one of their best selling games.
Yes, it was at the time, especially. I wouldn't be surprised if like a Persona is more now, though.
For sure.
Jeez. That's crazy. I still remember that era. That was fun times. It's like everyone's like, "Do you hear this game about Demon Souls?"
Well, it was weird because there was nothing like it. Nothing like nobody wanted. We were moving into that era of like experience games, like Uncharted and all that. So this idea of something hard that would kick your butt.
I will say I think Neo will have a tail on it in a way that no other Souls-like game has had. I think it's going to stick in a way that like Salt and Sanctuary didn't. And it's going to, like, the timing is just perfect. Like Brad was saying, like they are wrapping up Souls, and there's no Bloodborne 2 on the horizon. And this is just like fitting into a perfect pocket where people who are very enthusiastic about that type of game, which is a lot of people, are going to dig into Neo. And like, I think it's going to do really, really, really well on Twitch and that sort of thing. And I just think it's going to be part of the conversation for a while.
Oh, totally. Like, there's this guy I watch who he just streams Dark Souls and Bloodborne speedruns. I think his name's like Elahaz or something like that.
I've seen that guy. Yeah,
I've seen him too.
That guy is insane. Like, some of the glitches and like just skips he does. And even him, like, that's like his job. And so he's like, oh yeah, as soon as Neo comes out, like, it's all over. I'm just going to be streaming Neo all the time. So I think, like you said, that whole community is going to rally around this game. And even like, I think it's even filling a void in a weird way for people that want like an Onimusha, and they're totally not the same type of game. But like, I was hearing Colin Moriarty from Kind of Funny saying like, "Oh man, this reminds me of Onimusha," because there hasn't really been, a
Feudal
samurai
Japan.
kind of game.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But
It passes muster. I think it's, whether you're comparing it to Onimusha or Souls or anything like that, like, in so many ways, it's as good as those games are, and it's different enough that it's interesting. Like, it does not feel like a one-to-one clone of any of those games, and that's a hard thing to do.
yeah, because Souls sort of like reinvented a genre, or like made a subgenre within RPGs, and so now it's interesting to see people do their own spins on it, like you said, like Salt and Sanctuary and
Lords of the Fallen.
Yeah. But anyway, Nick, do you want to move on to some lightning round questions? We have time for that?
Yeah, we have time for lightning round questions for Brad.
Cool.
All right. So, I think you've answered this one before, but I'm going to say it again. Number 1, which JRPG got you into the genre?
The genre specifically, like starting it would be Final Fantasy, the original.
The first one.
Yeah. My neighbor had it on NES, so I played a lot of it.
Oh, nice.
I wish we played it when we were younger, so we'd had that nostalgic feel towards it, because we tried playing it in, like, I don't even remember, 2010, and we couldn't get far because
it's a brutal game.
there's no Phoenix Downs.
Yeah, it's brutal.
Jeez. It's kind of in the same spot. What is your favorite JRPG of all time?
Final Fantasy VII is.
Nice. I actually had a Final Fantasy VII question on the random battle. I didn't say it though.
Oh man.
I wonder if you would have got it, because it was a pretty obscure one.
Yeah, I hope so.
If you had to designate an ally as a Final Fantasy job, who would each be? Like,
Damiani, I feel like, is the white mage. For sure.
Okay.
I feel like the jobs, Ben, we play in 14 is like who we'd be anyways. I kind of feel like that.
That's probably true.
Because Ian would for sure be like a bard or something like that. Same with Jones.
Sure.
Huber, obviously warrior.
Yep.
Like, no question. I would be ninja probably.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What would Bloodworth be though? I wonder. Maybe red mage. I feel like Bloodworth would be.
Sure. I could see him being a white mage as well.
Yeah. Who do you think Dawn would be actually?
Dawn would be a fucking ninja. No doubt.
Okay. Yeah. I'm cool with that. Or maybe a badass dragoon. One of those.
Sure.
what
What would
about
Kyle be?
Kyle? Chemist.
what about Ben?
Black mage.
Black mage, for
Black
sure.
Mage. All right.
Nice.
All right. You're stuck on a desert island with one JRPG soundtrack of your choosing. What would it be?
Dragon Quest VIII.
Oh, Brad, I love you.
Nice.
I like how we keep getting a very diverse answers on that question. First, Ben was Chrono Trigger.
Great pick, also.
If you can change one JRPG game or franchise into an anime series, what would you choose?
Aren't they all anime series at this point?
I know.
I know, it
right?
seems like it now.
I would do Vagrant Story.
Great pick.
Ooh, deep cut. I like it. So, what about Vagrant Story would make a good anime in your mind?
I think just the tone of that universe and how brutal it could be is what really set it apart from me. Because, like, I think it'd just be a lot more serious of an anime, I would say.
I do like how it's set in the original Final Fantasy Tactics universe, too.
Yeah, that is cool.
I gotta play that. We gotta play that.
Yeah, the battle system is really weird, but yeah, it seems.
Yeah,
it looks cool.
it's very strange at first, but I really like it.
All right. Worst JRPG you've ever bought?
I've ever bought. Hold on, let me look at my shelf real quick.
I remember Ben was like Starfighter or something like that.
Time Stalkers.
Time
I
Stalkers
think was my answer.
Those good times. What about you, Taylor?
Oh, that's an easy one. It was White Knight Chronicles 2.
Oh yeah.
I would have just said 1, but 2 came with both 1 and 2.
Just say White Knight Chronicles.
Yeah, White Knight Chronicles. That is like a running joke on this podcast, like the disdain we have because like Level 5 is such a story developer, and for them to put out something so bland. Ben, I think we talked about this when you were on at some point, right?
Yeah, it like bafflement. White Knight Chronicles is just a baffling series for sure.
The weird thing was the avatar. He was just always there in the background, just staring. Had no soul. It's like, that was you.
I wonder if it has to do with like them overreaching, like if White Knight Chronicles was too ambitious for the time. I don't know.
Yeah.
With its online elements.
All right, I got it. Dot Hack.
Dot hack.
Not
The
hack.
original.
Okay.
Why?
I really
Really?
don't like that game. Yeah, I really don't like that game, Ben.
It's not great, but I liked it at the time.
I've been lucky and not buying like too many terrible RPGs, but I remember playing that game and just feeling like soulless playing that game, Ben. Like playing like a fake MMO by yourself is the saddest thing I've ever done.
Sounds like White Knight Chronicles.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's sadder now, but when it first came out, MMOs weren't prevalent the way that they are. Like it wasn't.
Right.
It like the idea of an MMO was like still a big deal, and so it was. I don't know.
It was just like fake though. That's what it felt like to me.
Yeah, I mean, you would
like,
get booted out to an interface, and you get like messages from your friends.
Yeah, I wasn't into it.
Sure.
Don't worry.
I can see Brad not liking that for sure.
Don't worry. Mine would have everyone hating me, so I can't say it.
Oh.
Is it what I think it
man.
is?
Yes.
Well, now you
Oh,
gotta say
God.
it. I think it's Tales of Symphonia.
It is Tales of Symphonia.
Oh, okay.
There's no way, like, unless you played like two JRPGs, and one of them was Tales of Symphonia, that could be the worst one, just objectively terrible.
So here's this thing. Nick has this weird thing. I don't think he hates the game. I think he hates the community around the game because he's like an OG. He's like, yeah, man. He's a Tales hipster because he started.
All right, hold on. Like, what world do you live in that Tales of Symphonia fans are like getting on your nerves in 2017? Like, what? This has to be like some
Not
deep
okay.
crush.
Not now. All right. So back in the early days of or not the early days of GT. So I was on game trailers, and when there are factions, do you remember those days? So,
No.
No.
You didn't.
I think that was before your time.
Yeah.
both of you guys.
So
yeah.
the forums had they had something called factions where you could create your own like custom forums for a group, and I would always look for a Tales of forum, and it would always just be Tales of Symphonia, or and then what was the other one that was
Abyss,
out?
Tales
An
of
Abyss. It was just those two. And whenever I would talk about Tales of Destiny and stuff like that, even on the Tales of forums, they'd be like, "Oh, is this the Tales of Symphonia sequel?" I'm like, "No, this came out like 4 years before Symphonia," and that just stuck with me.
It's probably because no one cared really about Tales of
Exactly.
Symphonia.
Yeah, because
that's
exactly.
yeah.
I played Tales of Destiny, and
Does that make Tales of Symphonia the worst JRPG you've ever played?
no, I'm just trolling right now. I'm being
Okay.
a Kyle.
All right.
Like, okay, I played Tales of Symphonia. I got 80 hours into it, and then I just stopped playing. Okay, so
I feel like at that point you might as well just finish it. you
no,
know?
I don't know why I stopped. I think there was a point in the story where it was just parallel with Tales of Fantasia, and I was like, wait, this scene is just exactly like Tales of Fantasia, and then I think I guessed the next line of this dialogue, and I was exactly right. It was like, we need a summoner to capture Volt so he could use the Skybirds or whatever. And then I'm like, I bet you someone's going to say, I'm a summoner. And right after that, the ninja girl was like, I'm a summoner. I'm like, I'm done. I'm done.
Well, to be fair, you have beat Tales of Zestiria, so I think that's what I would put up for the worst one you played.
Yeah, I know. You're trying to troll me. It's not going to work. It's not going to work.
I think this is a good example of the internet is actually ruining our lives.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I don't really hate it. It bothered me when I was younger because I always wanted to talk about Tales of Destiny and then Tales of Eternia because those are the two PS1 ones that came out in the US, and I never had anyone to talk to with them. And I was like, oh.
I'm gonna on the Easy Ellis forum. I'm gonna make a Tales of Destiny and Tales of Eternia thread, and it's just like you can have it. You can do whatever you want there in that space.
All right, please talk to me about this game.
Yeah,
make me feel better.
Oh my gosh! Yeah. 7 years later, redemption has come.
I got closure finally. The next question: what is your crown jewel of your gaming collection?
My crown jewel is probably my original NES cartridge of The Legend of Zelda I had when I got when I was like 2, I would say. I still have it.
Was it the gold one?
Yeah.
Nice. Those are hard to find. Favorite non-JRPG game of all time?
Non-JRPG. I don't know. Would you count Zelda as a JRPG?
I mean, it's made in Japan, so technically yes.
Yeah.
It's like a weird hybrid series. I don't know.
We're crossing into weird territories.
Yeah.
I'll say Super Mario World.
Yeah.
There you go. All right.
I remember playing that on Game Boy Advance. Good times.
Yeah, I used to play that in high school on my SP.
Whew. Well, I keep hiccuping. All right. Now we're getting the silly questions. Michael Huber or Ben Moore?
In what context?
I don't know.
Huh. It just depends what it is. I'm going to say just Mike, just because we've been friends since first grade.
I expected that.
Yeah, see?
Yeah, it's like he's got a few years on you, Ben.
Like more than a decade, right?
Yeah.
No, I get it. That's cool.
Like,
a
long time.
As long as we're still friends, Brad.
That's why I asked what context, because it depends what we're doing.
I asked the same question to Ben. I just said Michael Huber or Bradley Ellis, and he couldn't answer.
He was given the politically correct.
The noble path. Yeah.
You took the coward's way out, dude.
Or I was just being honest.
You gotta pick one.
Do I have to now?
Pick.
Brandon Jones.
Here we go again.
There we go.
Pick one.
All right, and our last question. Who is your JRPG waifu?
Ooh. JRPG waifu, dude.
Actually, I got another question after that. Tifa. All right.
Okay.
It's gotta be Tifa.
I got an addendum to that question. An add-on.
Right.
Who would you make a body pillow of?
A body pillow of? I would have to do lightning. Without a shadow of a doubt.
That's a good
goddess.
answer.
I think that's the only right answer.
Yeah.
I think you're right. That is the only correct one.
Only correct
for
one.
sure.
Yeah.
By the way, speaking of that, what is the context of that whole thing with the lightning cutout? Is it just like a little like inside joke that you guys had over the years or whatever?
Kinda.
I don't mean to say this in like a dickish, sarcastic way, but if you have to ask, you'll never know kind of a thing. Like it is it's just like part of the EZA culture is lightning from Final Fantasy 13. I feel like you can interpret that however you want.
I could give you.
Interpret that as
I'm trying
or sarcastic.
I'm like trying to remember.
I can give you my experience with the goddess, because when my first day at GT when I started, that lightning cutout was in my desk. Like in my desk space, and we didn't really have anywhere to put her, so I just left her there. And I just kind of grew to love her. I don't know. I think like the first time we really like made it clear that we love her is when me and Ben brought her out for one of our Final Fantasy 7 streams. I think we brought her out, Ben.
Yeah.
And people were like didn't understand why we were doing this, like mad about us bringing lightning into it. But then I would say the rest of it is just exactly how Ben said.
Okay,
The goddess.
because I can remember
She is a character. Yeah.
I remember. I know the goddess. I just don't know like the origins of it. I don't know where like it started.
It's very bizarre and very strange.
Well, it's awesome too because I remember the Patreon video. It's like Jones like looking at his phone and then he looks at lightning and I'm like, okay, this is really weird, but but awesome nonetheless.
All right.
I remember Mike threatened to throw lightning out in the trash one time because he hated it.
What?
I feel like that was very early on, though, right?
No, dude. Even like when we moved offices, because you remember in our last office, Ben, when she was like by me and Kyle, we had like no space.
What? This makes me think less of Huber.
Yeah, they weren't into it, man. Especially Matt Blair too.
Well, Matt
Blair, I understand that. Yeah,
yeah. But Huber was just like throw it away.
He was not into it at a point. Yes.
Okay.
He saw the light though.
Didn't Ultima Brad want to throw something away? The glow the cup?
What do you mean wanted to?
Did you? Did
I don't know. I'd have to ask him.
Okay, I guess we'll have to wait till E3.
Yeah, E3.
Yeah, maybe.
All right, so we've been an hour and 10 minutes. It was pretty good. And
Very nice.
Yeah, so that'll be the end of this episode. Thanks for joining us, Ben and Brad. That was really cool for you.
Oh, sure. Dude.
Hopefully you would join us again, Brad.
Yeah, totally.
Because I know Ben will, because Ben's done this 4 times.
This is my 4th time?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
We got to try to get Huber on here with us one time, too.
Yeah, I want to have like a long frame trap-esque podcast, 3 hours long with all you guys. Let's talk
Just
about
get
games.
ready to talk about a lot about Dragon Quest VIII. That's my prediction. Not that that's a bad thing. It's a great thing.
Well, it doesn't even have to be just about JRPG. It could just be about any games. It's more general gaming. That'll be fun.
Keep it cash.
Then Resident Evil will enter as well.
Ooh,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
That's going to be fun. But yeah, thanks guys for listening. Be sure to subscribe to us on iTunes. If you want to follow us on the social media accounts, go to, for Twitter is at LSG channel. YouTube's Last Honest Gamers. Facebook is also Last Honest Gamers. And if you want to email questions for us, go ahead and email us at askgiantsword@gmail.com. And all the links will be in the description.
One thing I want to clarify, that if you go to iTunes, there are 2 versions of Giant Sword because we basically took it away from the network we were a part of. So look for the one that has the purple coloration in the logo.
And
I'm
it
going to
says-
have to resubscribe.
And it has Last Honest Gamers under it.
Got it.
Yes. All right. And thanks for listening. See you guys.